1, 2, 3, FCA!
Okay. We've been looking at some different judo techniques, and one of the things, we've been looking at some ways of chaining some techniques together. But something that's really important to actually really make things work is to start thinking about some counter-attacks. So in the reality of things, it's not just a case of I go for something, I go for something, I go for something. This guy's going for something as well, right? He also wants to stick me on my ass. And one of the counters that I like to use is, we're in our grips, and if Noah goes for an Osoto-Gari, he's going to the outside and he wants to bring that back through and go through. But if I anticipate it, I can react. So as he steps through and goes for it, as he's going for that, I am going to circle backwards, keeping my grip so I drive him across, and then I can just fold at the hip and harai and get into a very strong throwing position. So if we see that with a little bit more fluidity, when Noah is here, he sets up to go, I turn, and I launch. So that's a very powerful counter to Noah's initial attack. So that's a nice counter that I like to use. And then when we're on the ground, we started looking from this turtle position. So first things first, pretty common situation. Noah has gone for a double leg or gone for a takedown, and I have sprawled on top of it. What I'm going to look for from here, my first option is going to be to go and look for some attacks on his head. So first things first, I don't want to let my knees down on the ground close to him. Noah's going to very quickly get on the leg, suck it up, stick me on my back. Don't want that. So, let's turn you around here so the camera can see. I'm going to keep my legs sprawled out. My right hand, going to go underneath, and I'm going to cup Noah's chin. So if we come out, you can see this is the position. I'm literally making a chin cup, chin strap for him. My shoulder stays up over his shoulders. My other hand comes down to my hands. So you can see the grip I'm going for is this grip. Cup on the chin, hand over. So I can make a lifting motion. So he's here, I've cupped his chin, I come to my own hand. From here, I'm going to walk my legs in, and I'm going to lift up. What this does is it stretches out the neck, and makes sure everything tucks in real tight. From here, my shin goes across as I sit down, my leg comes across his body to stop him rolling through, my shoulder stays heavy over his neck, and I'm going to lift my hands up and crunch in for the tap. So without him there, you can see my shoulder goes over the top and pushes down, my hand comes up here, I'm folding him over the bar that's in his neck, and I crunch in towards him. So the whole idea, I've got something blocking in here, I've stretched Noah up, and then I fold him over that, for that to make the block on the carotids, which is going to cut blood and put him to sleep. I really like this grip for the guillotine. There's 1,000 different ways to set up a guillotine. A lot of people will teach it in different ways. I'm not saying any of them are bad. A lot of people like to get real deep, go for attacks over the top, really getting deep, really coming up deep. That could be very, very effective, so I'm not going to say it's wrong. The one thing for me, when I'm going for these grips, when I just come here to the chin, I've got good control, but it's also kind of hard for him to defend. I can get over his hands, and even with his hands coming in, I can get tight on this. The second I go deep, I've given him a lever to pry that pressure off. I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying I like the speed at which I can just tuck into this and go for it, and I like my control being in and tight, and I like not leaving him long levers to disengage me. So that was the first technique we looked at. The second technique was kind of a bit of repetition from the last class, but we're putting some extra on the front of it. So I'm here, I'm blocking. Maybe I'm looking for this, but Noah's incredibly tight. I cannot get in under his chin. I want to change the position. I want to rotate. If I just start rotating, he could block, he could grab my leg, he could control me. So I'm going to use this arm when Noah's down. This arm is going to go across and block across which stops him opening this arm out and reaching. So I'm here, this hand goes into here, I go to his far hip, and I do a back step to get into this position. I'm going to drive into Noah, he drives back at me, I reverse my legs, rotate him. Open the gi, get my grips, get my hooks, choke for the finish. Okay, so it's the same technique we saw on Tuesday. Chance to repeat it and practice it some more, but with a little bit more setup on the beginning. Thanks for helping me out on the training.
Well, thank you, Coach.